Alright guys, what's up here? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with a Crystron test hand video. Not much else to say. I showed you guys a crazy one-card combo brought to us by Gen X Undying here. And I thought I'd just go through and show you some test hands. One of my subscribers and commenters commented like some of the combos that I missed with Fibrax here. So with that being said, I just figured I'd go ahead and jump into like a test hand and kind of show you guys what we got and what we can do here, because Fibrax here is busted in his own deck. Like, he is a Crystron by name, so what he can do for his own deck is very powerful. Also, you guys will notice that, I guess up till we get to about right here, this is my 15 card extra deck. These are some extra cards I'm testing along with like a White or a Well, so we'll just go ahead and jump into that and play through. Like, this is what test hands are for, is to kind of show you guys what the deck can do. So we'll go ahead and shuffle it up here. We'll try to do, this deck really can't go second without having like a more scrap-based engine, which I just haven't got around to ordering my scrap golems and my scrap wyvern yet. So mostly for this test hand video, we'll mostly do going first hands, because that's where I think the deck is super strong. And take note, guys, this deck is not like no super contender or anything like that. It's a very fun, explosive, reactive deck that can catch your opponent off guard, that maybe your locals, maybe even take it to the regionals and end up doing well. But also, guys, remember to see if you see any cards down here that you like, please remember to check our TCG affiliate link down in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and do one more good shuffle here and cut. And we'll draw our first hand of 5 cards, which will be the 1-card combo called by Ash Blossom, Sulfefnir, and this Wyvern. So like, this is even better. Let's just go ahead and see what we can do here, guys. Wow. So, oh my goodness. Of course, I think we want to go for the, since we have Sulfefnir, this is like the perfect hand. Like, this is crazy. We'll go ahead and normal summon Gen X Undying. Use Undying's effect to send Rosenix to add ourselves the controller. And even if we get ashed here, or like we have a hand, we have Call by the Grave to stop most hand traps. So make sure everything's here is still in the camera. It certainly is. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and banish the Rosenix to give ourselves a token. We'll then turn the token into Link Spider. Make sure that's still in frame. It perfectly is. Link Spider's effect. Summon here. Now, in this case, we can go through the typical Undying combo to get into Fibrax. However, a subscriber of mine brought up that instead of like synchroing here for the Coral Dragon to get the draw, we can just link here for Fibrax, and then we have a setup carry on Quandrax play. But since we have such a powerful play with Sulfefnir, I'm trying to and extend as far as I can to make the best board possible, just because we have access to Sulfefnir. And I think by having access to Sulfefnir, it'll grant us more disruptions. So we'll go ahead and synchro here for our Coral Dragon. Go ahead and link here for Fibrax. 2-1, so this right here let us draw. We'll go ahead and draw Impact, which is really good. And this will let us summon out, I think we're going to go for Rion. And then we can, let's see here, because Rion can get back the Rosenix to make us a Dawn Dragster. This can tag out into Fibrax, but we need to be able to have a second tuner available. So I think my goal is to, what I'm trying to set up, guys, I'm trying to set up a FA Dawn Dragster with a setup of a Crarion Quandrax. So I think we're going to go ahead and pitch this Wyvern, summon Sulfefnir. Sulfefnir's effect will destroy himself. Triggering his effect will summon out, I think we have to summon out Citri. And then, yeah, we summon out Citri, and then we will banish Fist Werven to add ourselves Smiger for the follow-up turn. So that way, during the standby phase, we can shotgun the impact, bring it back to Fist Werven, and then we can also use Halifibrax's effect to tag into Quandax, and that will set us up for a carry on Quandax. Yeah, there we go. Okay, set there. Go ahead and set your 2 cards here. And then this is the best board. I wouldn't say the best board, but this is what would make this hand better is this was a Starlight Junction, because then we'd have so much more another form of disruption. But essentially, you pass it over to your opponent's turn. During the standby phase, I recommend just going activating Impact to summon here. And then during your opponent's main phase, activate Rion to summon out Rosenix. You'll then synchro these 2 into the Dragster. And then, of course, you let your opponent commit a little bit more. Activate Halifibrax, chain Halifibrax to summon into Quan. And then when your opponent finally commits, at least, you know, up to like 3 cards worth, or, you know, like a decent amount, you can use Quandax here, making that Fist Werven also live into carry on Quandax, so you're able to negate a spell and trap, banish 3 cards. You also have an Ash Blossom here and a Call by the Grave. That's if the Quandax didn't hit like the appropriate things, you could get rid of it with the Call by. Also, the next turn you have the ability to banish the Swerven to search for a normal summon. You have the ability to protect from targeting thanks to Impact. And yeah, so that's it for the first test hand, guys. Like I said, this will mainly do going first. Maybe I'll throw in a going second, because sometimes it's just interesting to see what the deck can do going second. We do have such powerful cards like White Aura Well that you could play in your extra deck. That would probably make the deck more explosive. You could, like I said, play Scrap Wyvern and Scrap Golem to get that particular pop. It's just, guys, the extra deck space is so tight. And I've noticed, like, sometimes, like, that you play, like, at least, I've cut him already. I am currently right now playing 2 Quandax, but previous to this, I was playing 3 Quandax, and I decided to cut him down because Halifibrax pretty much gets to him. But sometimes, guys, like, the Halifibrax prey just, like, you know, like, sometimes, like, going to make him is not as good as just having a set up for a Quandax. Or sometimes you just can't, like, when you open really bad and you just open one of the smaller Crystrons, like, with the ability, like, not to, like, maybe if you just open Turtle and no discard off for Solfefnir, or, like, you don't open Solfefnir, you have to hard make Quandax. So essentially, Quandax, or Parsatortle plus, like, Starlight Junction is, like, a disruption in itself, because you can then bounce something back with Starlight Junction. And then arguably you could play, like, the Scythe engine, where, like, you use Quandax to tag out into, like, the TG Wonder Librarian to pop a card, and you pop the Scythe, and all. There's tons of stuff you can do with this deck. It's just very reactive, and it's very hard to play. We'll do a cut, and let's see our first hand. All right, guys? So we're going to have a Call by the Grave, Crystron Rion, Ash Blossom, Terraforming, and Fist Wyvern. All right, well, this is not too good, to be honest with you guys. However, I'm gonna, this right here, this is probably a quick, simple playthrough. You're gonna go ahead and activate Terraforming, because this is a perfect example of why I say to play the 1 Quandax. Go ahead and get Starlight Junction. Then you would normal summon Fist Werven. You really don't got much of an option. Use Fist Werven's effect to destroy itself. And then you can summon out Citri, would be my guess. Yeah, I think that's all you can do is you can summon out Citri. And that's crazy, because essentially, all right, so we'll go ahead and set the Call by. These are the 2 cards in our hand, is the Rion and the Ash Blossom. So your opponent, during their turn, you pass to your opponent. During your opponent's turn, you activate Citri's effect, summon back to the Swerven, synchro summon, they get banished. And then you get to summon out a level 5, which could be your Emistrix. And that would switch everything. If they have a big, huge board of monsters, it would switch everything to defense. And then that would trigger the Junction to spin back something. We also have the Ash Blossom, which we can assume will ash something, and we have a Call by the Grave, so like we can also assume that we'll call by something. You can go into Amistrix, or we can go into SL Synchron. SL Synchron, I do believe, says you can dump, well, send one, never mind. I thought I could send any monster, but it's just send one Synchron. Potentially you could send this here, and then like go into this, but like this right here would probably be one of the better best bets. Just because it technically floats, but it floats from the graveyard, and if we've already pitched the Ash, we do have the ability to chum block with the Ash. Just in that sense. So then you get a spin. If they do destroy this, following up the next turn, we do get Smiger. Again, Smiger is not really the best. And by having to use Citry in order to put something out there, because like I said, like we gotta be able to do something. We lost access to this Werven. So arguably, again, one of the next best things to probably do would be the normal summon the Rion, and then just pass for your opponent's turn, and then during their turn use Rion to summon back here, and then you got to make a Synchro for a 6, which we could make the Powered Zektron, which these guys will get shuffled back here, and then even I guess now looking at it, you wouldn't have to even normal summon the Rion. You could potentially normal summon the Smiger, use Smiger's effect to summon out the second Rion in our deck, wherever, summon out the second Rion, and then that way during your opponent's, during your like 4th turn, you could banish the Smiger and get the trap. So that was it for that. We'll just go ahead and wrap that up here. Again, this wasn't as an explosive hand, because as you guys saw, like our opening hand was pretty, this was our opening hand. It wasn't like, oh, wait a second. There we go. This was our opening hand, so it wasn't the best. We didn't have any discard outlet, anything like that. It's kind of also why I want to contemplate playing like the Synchron, Quick Draw Synchron. I know we can't make him, or like can't use him unless we're Synchro summoning for like a Synchron monster, or a monster that uses a Synchron as a material. But you know, just having the discard outlet, and then like you can get access to Cyber Dragon, Nova, and Infinity that way, which is very powerful. Again, going second, Nova has, or Infinity has the ability to suck up something, which is really good, important. But let's go ahead and shuffle up here. Normally, I like to cut these. So I think we'll do an additional test hand thing, since that one wasn't too explosive. That one was kind of just, essentially, guys, let's be real. If you're playing against the meta deck and that's all you're able to do is shuffle back one card, I mean, like, we're probably going to get blown out. But that's where this deck has some inconsistencies, as you guys can see. But this deck is, as you guys saw from the first turn, we have the ability to do some pretty explosive and grindy plays. We'll go ahead and cut, or shuffle here. Go ahead and cut, and draw our next hand. Parsatortle, Call by the Grave, which is, thank goodness, Gen X Undyne, Scrap Recycler, and Parsatortle. So, this is where things get kind of interesting. Because we open both our Parsatortles, which is not awful. We open 2 normal summons, which is kind of why you kind of want to be careful. Like, that's why I don't play Mathematician, because then you have too many normal summons, and you get this conflict here. I do believe Scrap Recycler can be ashed. I don't think Undyne can. So I think the best thing for us to do is go ahead and activate Undyne. I guess, again, we have Call by the Grave, so it didn't really matter. But Undyne will send... We could send Thistwerven, I believe. Send Thistwerven, add the controller. Then we can use Thistwerven to add Sulfefnir. Use Sulfefnir, or we can just... Because right now we only have, like, we're limited to what we can do. We could arguably go the similar route where we get the draw, and the draw could actually be really important. We could potentially draw into something that we need. Maybe a Moray of Greed to put these 2 back, or maybe we can draw into Sulfefnir, or maybe we can draw into Starlight Junction, which makes the board. So I think for the sake of the video, let's risk it for the biscuit. Let's go ahead and send this to add ourselves the controller. The only thing we could have done, and like if I didn't open Undyne and all I opened was the Recycler, I would have sent Thistwerven, banished it, searched Sulfefnir, pitched one of the turtles, and kind of comboed off that way. But since Undyne is just so powerful, we'll just go ahead and banish here, give ourselves a token, link the token off into our man's Link Spider. Link Spider's effect, summon here. And now see, this is where you kind of just gotta, like, you gotta kind of really use your brain. If you know what you're going against, and you're risking it for the biscuit, it might not be worth it. However, if you do know what you're going against is that like Block Dragon BA, it might be smart just to go ahead and do this. Link, I'll go ahead and show this. You link here, and then use this effect to summon out Citri. And then you already set up for a carry on Quandax play because you can tag this out for Quandax, and then you have immediate carry on Quandax. But since we are attempting to risk it for the biscuit, because that's what, you know, Equal Max wills it, we're going to go ahead and synchro here because we want to get that draw because we're greedy into Coral Dragon. Go ahead and link into Halifibrax 2-1, and I don't think we searched or anything. I can't remember. We'll go ahead and just do a quick shuffle just in case I can't remember. And cut here, and so we draw a card, another call by, and then we summon out. So this is where we get pretty interesting here. We can summon out Rion, excuse me, Rion. Rion can make the Dragster. The Dragster then can negate some, making its level 5, giving us access to a Crystron Phoenix setup, which is very important. Which we'll try that. We'll go ahead and showcase that since we do have the ability here for 2 call buys. So we'll go ahead and do this here. Arguably, we could have made. The other route we could have done is summon out Citri, and Citri could have brought back the Undyne. Undyne could have synchroed for Emistrix. Emistrix could have dumped, or Emistrix could have switched everything to defense and then chain Halifibrax to make Quandax and then synchroed for Phoenix. But in this case, we're getting a negate out of it, which is what I think is important. So we'll go ahead and cut, or this is pretty much it of the turn. You guys got to remember, if you guys are new to this and you don't know, if you guys are veteran Crystron players, you guys understand that Crystrons are, in fact, not a one-punch crazy combo deck. Like, you should never, like, I even think, let's do, I think in this combo we exceed 5 summons. Because this is 1, the token's 2, 3, 4, yeah, Coral Dragons are 5th summon. So here you are in the Nibiru territory, which this deck very seldom gets to that point. It only happens when you get Undyne, but most of the time, like, if you don't get a way to make Halifibrax, you're not going to be in the Nibiru territory because you're just going to be setting up for, like, the plays during your opponent's turn. But in this case, we kind of exceeded it. So if they have it, they have it, and then we just kind of get swamped. But, you know, it happens. But we fear no rock. Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of combo players, we will fear no rock. For masterpieces with us, or something like that. Something Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis, something. Anyway, you pass it to your opponent's turn. You use Rion to summon a shuffle back. And this is what I'm kind of trying to explain. You go into Dawn Dragster. Your Dawn Dragster will have the ability to negate something. So then when your Dawn Dragster negates something, its level becomes 5 because you reduce it by 2. So then it's a 5. Then you can activate Halifibrax in response to, like, they can be like Pod Desires, Chain Dragster. If they have no response to Dragster, chain Halifibrax, banish Halifibrax into Crystron Quandax, and then 5 and 4, we're able to synchro here for Crystron Phoenix. Because it just says 1 tuner synchro monster plus 1 non-tuner synchro monster, which of course fits the bill. Then you're able to banish all spell and traps. We do have the ability to call by the grave 2 monsters. Also with the ability, let's see what we're drawing for turn, Starlight Junction. So this grind game was pretty much going to be over with just because we could normal summon the Recycler. We could dump then Thiswervin to get a Sulfefnir to pitch that. And yeah, so it's a very controlled grind deck. I really enjoy playing the deck. It's just like, it's very hard to do test hands because, like, it's arguably like, what are we playing up against? Like, it's so reactive to what your opponent does. You got to make very equal trades for the deck, which is what I believe Control S decks like this are. You got to make equal trades to where, like, you are plussing in the trade-off, whereas you're not, like, making 1-for-1s or 0-for-1s or anything like that. You got to be making essentially, like, 2-for-1s so that this deck can really thrive. Go ahead and cut. All right, let's see here. Another hand. Gen X Undyne. Scrap Recycler. Crystron Impact. Starlight Junction. And Crystron Rion. So, the best route to go would probably be the Undyne route, because we can get that draw. Or we can go the Recycler, dump Sulfefnir. Arguably, you can do that with both of these. This is why I kind of don't like this is, like, probably the worst, because, like, this card, like, they're dead in your hand. One of these cards is dead depending on the route you want to take, and you're almost always going to go the Undyne route, because Undyne's cost to send. So it really just depends on like what your opponent wants to do. I think the best route again is going for the typical like Undyne Ray and get into the draw with the Coral Dragon to hopefully draw into like another extender like Solfefnir or anything like that. But arguably you could go ahead and get set up for a Carry on Quandrax play because we have access to Impact and access to Starlight Junction. And Impact, I believe, in that play will just bring back the Quandax, or bring back the Halifibrax to tag into the Quandax if we need to. But let's see here. Do we want to? Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best. Like, let's just go and do Undyne. I mean, Undyne's like the best. So like, activate effect to send. You can send, like I said, Rosenix. Rosenix will then get us that route. But we could also send this Werven. Let's go ahead. Let's do that route for a change. You know, send this Werven, add a controller, banish this Werven to add ourselves Solfefnir. You then can activate the field spell, and then you can activate Solfefnir's effect, pitching the Rion. Solfefnir's effect will activate, destroying himself to summon out. This is kind of like, I guess, the old school play without having to make, this will be under 5 summons. This is a way to make Carry on Quandrax without going the 5 summons route, with Undyne, I guess. You go here, so this is 1, 2, 3, effect to destroy. This will make 4. Four summons right here. You're not in the Imbrue territory yet, and all you do is set the impact, and then you pass to your opponent, and then now you just, during your opponent's main phase, you activate Citri's effect, summon out Parasitoturtle, Synchro here, for Quan, and then you just, you know, when your opponent decides to commit, and then, excuse me, when you do summon for Quan, you are forced, like Starlight Junction triggers, so you have to, so make sure that you have to bounce with Starlight Junction, otherwise you have to target your own card. Make sure when you are using Citri's effect and doing this, that your opponent like already committed a normal summon or a set card, so that when you bring this back, you can spin back their card and you don't have to spin back your own card to get maximum value out of this. So then you spin back one card, and then you activate, your opponent does something, you activate Quandax, chain impact, summon out the Citri, Synchro here. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For our man Carry on Quandrax. Carry on Quandrax. Then we'll banish 3 cards from field or graveyard. And essentially, if your opponent's able to play through that, Quandrax is able to float, which is very powerful. But this is what's really important, is the follow-up play that we have. We're going to draw for turn. It doesn't matter what we draw. It's just the fact that we have the ability to normal summon Recycler, use Recycler's effect to send the Rosenix, banish the Rosenix to give ourselves a token. We can then turn the token into our Link Spider. Link Spider's effect, go here. And then you can Synchro here for Coral Dragon, and then the card you have in your hand here, you can pitch for the Coral Dragon, destroying a card. Then you're able to push for a lot of damage. And then after that, like, you know, you have another follow-up to Link here into Halifibrax. Draw a card here, which is Smiger. Not too important, which actually we can actually use the Smiger. We can get Smiger in the graveyard. Like, that's actually a busted draw. I'm not going to lie. But we're going to get Rion at this point because, like I said, we're playing through this hand. Don't ask me why. I just felt like it. We're going to get Rion. And then, like, we kind of are setting pretty nice because, like, now, like, we're pretty set. We can go ahead and activate Solfefnir if we want. Pitching Smiger to summon Solfefnir's effect to destroy himself. To summon out. This is kind of why I would like to play Rion, the level 1. Not play Rion, Quan, excuse me. Goodness, I get both their names mixed up. Well, actually, hold up. There we go. Citri can go over here. And then you can go ahead and you can banish the Smiger to get ourselves the trap. So then we're like set up for more disruptions. Essentially, we're just now set up again for another Carry on Quandrax play. It's actually quite crazy. So to kind of show you guys moving forward still, so you set the trap. What I mean by that, just to kind of go into more intricate plays past turn 1. Your opponent does something, you activate Rion, bring back Phoenix, shuffle them away into Dragster, triggering Starlight Junction, so you get to spin back something. You have an active negate. You activate this to bring back, let's see here. Let's see what's in our grave. Do we have, so all 3 traps are there, so you probably don't want to use Smiger, so you bring back this Werven. And then, of course, you can activate Halifibrax to go into your Quan. And then here, you're set up for just another carry-on contracts. Set up here, go into another carry-on contract. So you've been able to shuffle 1 back, remove 3, and you have the ability to banish or negate and destroy something. So yeah, so that was a more in-depth hand. So let's go ahead and quickly jump into our final test hand. All right, guys, here we go, the final test hand. Let's go ahead and go here and see what we can do. So we're gonna go ahead and draw our first 5, 3, 4, 5, and we'll go ahead and get to our 6th card, which is Rion. So we're going second, so we're gonna go ahead and activate here. Take note, guys, we really can't put on a lot. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, we really can't put on a lot of damage or any damage at all going first. But if they have Ash or anything, we can call by it here. If they have an active negate, then I don't think that was the correct route to play. But essentially we're saying going second, to show you guys what that next card can do. Rion, this Werven, Foolish Burial, which is pretty decent if you ask me. We're gonna go ahead and normal summon Scrap Recycler, send to the graveyard. Oh, there we go, send Smiger. Like I said, if they have, we'll go ahead and play Call By, assuming they have an Ash for it. We then can pitch this Werven, summon out here, so Fafnir's effect to destroy, summon out the Turtle, Turtle's effect to destroy, to summon out Citry. And then we have a Foolish Burial still. We could arguably banish these 2 to search ourselves the trap, and I think we're going to search ourselves. Let's search ourselves Rosenix, so that we can have a live pitch target for Solfafnir next turn. So then this is our hand. I don't know what we'd send in this course off of Burial. We could potentially send like Jet Synchron if we really wanted to, and then pitch this, get a, like then we could do some pretty crazy combo plays. And I've been thinking about playing Jet Synchron, but it's just kind of in the work. Like as you guys will notice in the title of this video, it's not going to say the best Crystron deck or the best Crystron test hands. It's just going to say Crystron test hands. But essentially, you set here, guys, and then during your opponent's turn, like you activate this. Hopefully, they don't have an active negate to synchro here into Quandrax. And then you activate Quandrax, chain, summoning. Oh, these will be banished. Summoning out the Citry. Going here for carry on Quandrax to remove 3 cards from the field. So like, that's kind of like what the deck can do going second. And like if we, so like actually speaking, going back, since we did open Scrap Recycler, we would have the ability to pop cards if we were able to fit in the Scrap Wyvern and the Scrap Golem, which would be really good. But sadly, I don't have them, so do keep that in mind. Like this, we would have been able to be more aggressive this turn if I was able to play the Scrap Golem, but I just haven't ordered mine yet. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It's been a pleasure. And this is Charles from Team COG signing out. Have a nice day, guys.